All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a massive public health crisis and how it's being tackled with a solution that's as simple, believe it or not, as making instant noodles. Sounds crazy, right? Let's break it down. Okay, first up, just take a look at this number, 5 billion bots. To put that in perspective for you, that's over 135 million US dollars. So the big question is, what on earth does a number this huge actually represent?
Well, that is the cost that the Thai healthcare system pays every single year for just one genetic disorder. We're not talking about a one-time expense. This is a massive, predictable drain on the economy, year after year after year.
So what are we talking about here? The disorder is called thalassemia. And the thing is, this isn't just a medical problem. As you're about to see, it's actually a massive market opportunity hiding in plain sight as a public health challenge. And when I say massive, I mean it. The scale here is just staggering. You know, we often think of genetic disorders as being rare, but not this one. In Thailand, a whopping 30 to 40%. Let that sink in. Almost half of the entire population are carriers. What that means is you have this huge, incredibly stable group of people who need screening, year in and year out. Okay, so you've got this huge, widespread problem. The logical question is, how are they dealing with it right now? Well, the way it's described is interesting. Think of it like traditional cooking. And, just like some old recipes, it's slow, it's way too complicated, and honestly, the results aren't always great. I mean, just look at this process. It's not one or two steps. It's this long, complicated chain of events. You've got the initial blood draw, then someone has to do manual calculations, then it goes for an expert review, and very often that leads to another expensive test just to figure out what's going on. The whole thing is just full of places where delays and mistakes can happen. So here's the bottom line, right? You've got this stark contrast. On one hand, the old way, slow, inefficient, inaccurate, just a huge waste of resources. And on the other hand, what's desperately needed, something fast, efficient, precise, and something that actually saves money. That gap, that inefficiency, that's the perfect opening for a new technology to come in and create some serious value. And that brings us back to our analogy. If the old way is that slow, complicated traditional cooking, then the new way, well, it's the instant noodle solution. It's fast, it's super simple, and it gets the job done perfectly every single time. Now this is the really brilliant part. This is what makes the solution so elegant. Hospitals don't need to go out and buy a bunch of expensive new machines. They already have the pot and water. And what is that? It's their standard complete blood count machines, the CBC analyzers they are already using literally every single day for all sorts of other tests. So the big innovation here isn't a new piece of hardware. It's all in the software. This is where we add the seasoning packet. That's the AI. It's a smart algorithm that takes the data the CBC machine is already producing and just looks at it in a totally new, much smarter way. And the result? Boom. You get an instant, accurate risk assessment. It takes the raw data the hospital already has and turns it into a clear answer, fast. And the best part? It plugs right into their existing workflow. No new machines to buy, no complicated training for the staff. It just works. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It sounds fast, it sounds easy, but is it actually accurate? Is it any good? Well, the answer is a huge yes. And now we're going to look at the numbers, because this is where this whole thing goes from a neat idea to an absolute game changer. Honestly, this chart pretty much says it all. On the one hand, you have the traditional methods. They're okay, but there's a pretty big margin for error. And then you have the AI model. It's not just a little better, it's a massive, monumental leap forward in precision. Yeah, look at that. Over 99% accuracy. Just think about that for a second. In the world of medical diagnostics, getting that kind of precision from a cheap, simple, automated screening tool, that is practically unheard of. It really does change everything. So what does that 99% accuracy actually mean in the real world for a hospital? It means you get to clean up that messy kitchen we were talking about. You can finally streamline the whole process and just make everything run a whole lot more efficiently. And that brings us to the key number when we talk about efficiency, 60%. So what is this 60% all about? It's all about a 60% improvement in what's called specificity. Now, in simple terms, that means the AI gets it right way more often. It dramatically cuts down on the number of false alarms, those cases that lead to expensive, stressful, and completely unnecessary follow-up tests. For a hospital, that's not just a nice to have, that's a direct, measurable return on investment. So it's pretty clear this is a fantastic solution for a huge problem inside Thailand, but the vision here is so much bigger than just one country. Let's zoom out for a minute and take a look at the massive global opportunity here.
I mean, the business case is just rock solid. You've got a super stable market that's tied to national screening programs. In Thailand alone, we're talking about 700,000 pregnancies every year. The government is desperate to cut that 5 billion baht annual cost, so this isn't some luxury add-on. It becomes an essential piece of public health infrastructure.
And again, this isn't just a Thai issue. Thalassemia is really common all across Southeast Asia, the Mediterranean, even parts of Africa. When you add all that up, the projected global market for this exact kind of tech is expected to hit almost $500 million by 2030. The potential is enormous. And the business model? It's just as simple and elegant as the tech itself. It's basically two parts. Hospitals pay a stable monthly subscription fee, and then a tiny little fee for every test they run. It's brilliant because it creates predictable, recurring revenue that just grows as more tests are performed. And that really brings us to the final big idea here. This whole model, using smart AI to find new answers in data that we already have without needing new, expensive hardware, it's such a powerful blueprint. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What other huge, multi-billion-dollar problems are out there just waiting for someone to come along with their simple, scalable, instant noodle solution?